Fellow vets, the biggest reason by far for VA claim denials is getting denied service connection. I'm sure you're familiar with it. That's why today I'm excited to tell you about a little known strategy, almost a loophole of sorts, that will not only save you thousands of dollars from having to get Nexus letters from doctors, but will speed up your filing process and skyrocket your chances at finally winning your claim. I'm Jordan Anderson with VA Claims Academy. Let's get right into it. So I actually stumbled upon this regulation almost by sheer dumb luck. It was about a year ago now. There was a client who I wrote some Nexus letter drafts for, and he took these to his doctors to have them signed. You know, that's the best way really to win service connection once you have a diagnosis, is getting your own doctors to weigh in. Of course, he knew that going through VA Claims Academy, getting those signed. However, the doctor was sort of, a little apprehensive about actually signing the documents. They didn't know if the government was going to come knocking on their door at 3 a.m. asking them why they signed this document, right? So they actually requested that I write them like a little pamphlet about, a little bit about me and what this means. And at first I was kind of taken aback. Like, okay, the doctor is not understanding. This is a template. You can edit the template. But then about a week ago, I had the same sort of instance happen. That guy I took care of, he wrote the little letter that the doctors were requesting. Boom, they knocked it out. Now, this happened last week with a VA doctor. Now, usually VA doctors are sort of notorious for not wanting to go on record on really anything, especially in regards to VA disability claims, right? They don't want to sign your Nexus letters. They don't want to provide an opinion on record. Sometimes they don't even want to diagnose you. So it was pretty surprising when I came, across this directive. And honestly, I've been refining this pamphlet, which is what I ended up giving this new client as well, to hand to them to bring to their doctors. You can bring it to your private doctor. You could bring this to your VA doctor. And the biggest thing, we're going to dive into it here in a second, is making them feel comfortable with actually giving their opinion and helping you out with the VA claims process. And I think we've nailed it. Check this out. This is called VHA Directive 1134. Let's see what it says. This is actual in the VA's actual rule book. So this is huge, right? As we can see here, this directive establishes policy requiring VA healthcare providers, when requested, and it says, when following the other policies, to assist patients, that's you, the veteran, in completing VA and non-VA medical forms. Now, what does this mean? Could this mean everything from, disability benefits questionnaires, maybe even Nexus letters? Let's dive in because it actually speaks about these specifically. It says here that VA healthcare providers are responsible for completing VA medical forms. So let's dive into what these can be. Here we have a couple, including the application for clothing allowance. We have the aid in attendance, housebound, survivor's pension, vocational rehab, disability benefits questionnaires. Let's pause on that really quickly. This is huge because if you're going for an increase, let's say you have PTSD at 30%, you have headaches, migraines maybe at 30%, but you deserve 50%. Requesting these disability benefits questionnaire, that's the easiest way to boost existing ratings. Now, by the way, the disability benefits questionnaire, it doesn't have to just be a DBQ, but your provider can also put a Nexus statement, not a Nexus letter, that's a whole separate letter, but a Nexus statement on that disability benefits questionnaire, similar to what your compensation and pension examiner would do on their DBQs when they're examining you. So there's an actual provision here that talks specifically about what your VA doctor can and can't do in terms of conflict of interest. And I think it's pretty interesting because it's sort of ambiguous, but we're going to wrap it up here at the end. Let's dive in. It says here, when honoring requests for medical statements by veterans for VA claims adjudication, right, for your VA disability claim, care must be taken to avoid conflict of interest or ambiguity. Now, it's ironic that they say ambiguity because I think that provision itself is a bit ambiguous. What does a conflict of interest entail exactly? Because this is what the VA doctors will often tell you, especially if you don't bring them something to kind of quell their fears. Not everyone wants to go out to bat for you and risk maybe their paycheck just to help you out, right? So that's why it's so important that this free tool that I'm going to reveal for you in a second exists because this can make all the difference, and it often does. Now, oftentimes you just don't want, let's say you have a psychiatrist or you have a therapist and you have a relationship with that patient, a relationship with your provider. A lot of times, if the provider feels like maybe something is not actually service connected, they won't want to give that opinion because it may harm the patient-provider relationship there. It's going to be hard to open up in therapy if you kind of hate each other because they didn't give you a good Nexus opinion, right? So that's what conflict of interest could be. And I want to be clear. This states that, hey, they have to help you, upon request, fill out your medical forms, but they don't have to give you the opinion that you want them to give. So just, they're at liberty to give their actual real opinion, and they should. So vets, imagine the edge that this gives you. Most vets don't know about this. Most vets are not able to get their own VA doctors to be their firepower for their VA disability claims. It gives you a massive edge over other veterans who don't know about this. So I went ahead and created a pamphlet, and I want to give this to all of my viewers. All you have to do, just click the link in the description below. It's freenexusletters.com, very easy to remember, freenexusletters.com. Just confirm your email. You're going to get this pamphlet, which lets the VA doctor know about the VHA Directive 1134. It lets them know, hey, you're not going to get in trouble. The SWAT team isn't going to kick down your door. You're allowed to give this opinion. As a matter of fact, you're kind of required to give this opinion. But it does and evokes this law in a very, or a regulation, in a very, specific way that doesn't hurt their ego, right? And that's the key about this. If you want your veteran, VA doctor to weigh in, and they can bring you massive value to your claim, because that's the gold standard. You're talking about your VA doctor who treats you, who's familiar with your treatment and your background, weighing in on record, even if it's not a Nexus letter, right? If you can get them to input a note, something like that, it could be referenced in your personal statement with your VA claim, and that could set you off. You could be denied for 10 years until this little note. So this is how important it really is. So go to freenexusletters.com. Actually, for a limited time as well, it does come with a promotional course sponsored by VA Claims Academy. It's paid for. You don't have to spend a dime. So you're going to get that pamphlet. You're also going to get a complimentary Nexus letter template, fully written, ready to give your doctor. Why? Because your doctor's not going to spend 40 minutes writing you a Nexus letter for free, right? So you want to bring them something that they can just read, edit, tweak as needed, sign, and then boom, you're done. Fellow vets, I hope this is helpful, and especially coming up with the beginning of the year, 2025 is the year that you finally win your VA claim, and I hope that you can do it using these free resources. So let me know your thoughts down below. Definitely like the video if you liked it, and share this with someone who needs it. Let me know how it goes if you use this resource. We've just refined some of the language, and it's really been working well. So I hope to see you there, and cheers.